moderator is DSK Rao. He will present the health challenge that this topic, community health workers, seeks to address. Our featured speakers are Mukti K. Bosco, who will introduce you to Healing Fields' project of promoting community health workers, which the project calls Community Health Facilitators, and P.S. Huda, who partners with Healing Fields on the Community Health Facilitators program for implementation. He will present Kashpor's perspective of the program. Their presentations will be followed by an open discussion in which you are encouraged to pose clarifying questions to the speaker or to offer your own experiences working with community health workers. I'd like to introduce you to today's host of the webinar, DSK Rao, who I know everybody is quite familiar with. Was a senior executive with National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development for a long time before joining the Microcredit Summit Campaign and Results Educational Fund 17 years ago. DSK, let me turn the mic over to you. All right, I've unmuted you.
Okay, thank you, Sabina. Good afternoon. I hope I'm audible. You are able to hear me? Yeah. I have great pleasure in inviting you to today's webinar. This webinar is the third in the webinar series of the community of practice. When we talk of integrating health and microfinance, till recently there used to be a debate whether MFI should be promoting health at all or confine themselves to only financial services, which is their core strength. I still remember a meeting of most of the microfinance institutions. Hello?
Yep,
yeah.
Go ahead, DSK.
Yeah, I still remember a meeting of microfinance practitioners we, at Microcredit Summit campaign had convened when we were attending the Access Summit about 4 years back. In that, most of the microfinance institutions were participating in that. And there was a very interesting debate among ourselves whether MFI should be really promoting health or they should be confining only to financial services. It was rather at that time it was 50-50. Some of the MFIs felt that no, this is not our job, and some of them felt very passionately about it. And we didn't have a clear mandate as whether it should be pursued by MFIs or not. That was the stage about 4 or 5 years back. I think that kind of debate is now over. Most of the MFIs, particularly the big MFIs, be it Bandhan, Equitas, ESAs, Kashpor, Grama Vidyal, Gramin Puta, Ujjivan, SKDRDP, they are all promoting health in some form or the other. The issue not anymore whether MFI should promote health or not, but now the issue is how should they do it, what kind of model they should promote, how should they do it efficiently and cost effectively. Whether MFI should be promoting health on their own or should they be partnering with some other organization. Should MFIs have a sort of a unified approach of deploying their credit officers for health promotion also, or should they have a separate cadre for health? So these are the issues that are now being discussed, and in that connection we have now today's webinar is one such model that is being followed by Kashpor in partnership with Healing Fields Foundation. Today we are going to discuss the model of community health workers. Community health workers, are designated differently by different organizations. Somebody calls them as community health facilitators, like Kashpor does. Somebody calls them as community health volunteers. Bandhan calls them as Swasthya Sevikas, health volunteers or health workers. These health workers are becoming increasingly popular for health promotion by financial service providers. They are women belonging to the local area, mostly drawn from either self-help groups or credit groups of MFIs. These workers naturally have good rapport with the rural community, particularly their women folk, and are able to communicate with them very effectively. Many organizations are deploying them for delivering health education, health messages. But some MFIs have gone beyond health education. Say, for example, ESOF Microfinance trained some of the self-help group women for livelihoods. They trained them to monitor blood pressure and blood sugar, and in the process collect a small fees and have a small livelihood. Bandhan has promoted nearly 5,000 health workers who not only provide health education but also sell some basic health products. Let us hear about health facilitators being promoted by Kashpur and Healing Fields Foundation in Bihar and UP. We have with us two very experienced professionals, Mukti Basko, Mrs. Mukti Basko from Healing Fields Foundation, and Mr. P.S. Huda of Kashpur Microcredit. Mukti Basko is the co-founder and secretary of Healing Fields Foundation. She has her master's degree in healthcare management from the Administrative Staff College of India and Johns Hopkins University. She is an Ashoka Fellow, recognized for her work as a social entrepreneur in micro health insurance space. Mukti has won several national and international awards for her work in the field of public health. Mr. P.S. Huda is the Deputy Managing Director of Kashpur Microcredit. Mr. Huda retired as the General Manager of Oriental Bank of Commerce. He was the founder and Managing Director of Uttaranchal State Cooperative Bank. He was also the Managing Director of Uttaranchal Microfinance Company, sponsored by Uttaranchal government. So I now request Mukti Basko to start her presentation. Mukti.
Yeah, hello. Good evening, everybody. It's an honor to be with all of you today to talk about our work in community health facilitation and especially focusing with our partnership with Kashpur. I have one of my senior colleagues, Gayatri, who has been working very as an integral part of the team with Healing Fields and one of our senior most members. And she is the person that I visited Kashpur for the first time, and we visualized this whole program together. And she is in charge of the whole Kashpur project. So what I would do is I would request Gayatri to do the presentation, and I will take any questions that you would have on the program or the project. Gayatri, over to you.
I'm Gayatri from Healing Fields Foundation, and I'd be happy to talk to you about the program that we have done for Kashpur, the way we've approached it, the whole of it today. Can we go to slide 5, please? Yeah, so we are going to talk today about our organization and how the whole partnership with Kashpur started, and how we the whole program together as a joint partnership. And then we're going to talk about the whole achievements of the program and the scale-up, how we've done the scale-up and what are the plans for the future scale-up, and a bit about the challenges of doing a similar kind of program. What are the kind of challenges we came across and how we sorted them, and etc. Could we move to the next slide, please? The next slide. Just to give you a little bit big background about Healing Fields. Healing Fields was founded in 2000, and it is registered as a not-for-profit society. And we also have FCRA registration and 12A and ATG exemption. And we are also registered by CSIRO as a scientific industrial research organization, and we have a very independent board who's very committed and involved in our strategy and in our work. And the vision of Healing Fields was basically to make quality healthcare accessible and affordable to all people in India, with a special focus to poor, underprivileged, and marginalized people. And with this vision, we started Healing Fields in 2000, and we started and we did a microfinance, micro health insurance program. We did a lot of work around health financing. And can we move to the next slide? Yeah, sorry. So we did a lot of work on health financing, and we developed a micro health insurance product also, which we had worked for 4 years. We had implemented a pilot in it, a very impactful pilot. And when government started introducing subsidized micro health insurance for the poor in the form of Arogya Shri and RSDY, we took a step back and we looked at what is it. I mean, government has introduced a health financing mechanism, but what is it that is needed for the poor to prevent them from falling sick and to help them to lead healthier lives? And when we started looking at that, we realized that majority of the illnesses are preventable, and it is because of lack of awareness that the illnesses are high, especially in the poorer communities and in the rural communities where the education levels are lesser. So that is when we said we need to intervene from the basic primary step of creating awareness and helping people to understand better about their health and how to access quality healthcare. And on that, the health financing can be built on that platform. And with this understanding, we came up with the community health model, community health education model, which is what we are doing, which is the model that we are working with Cashcore now. The next slide. Yeah. So basically, this model, what we do is we have been working in partnership with Cashcore from 2010. So what we did in 2010 was, on Cashcore's invitation, we had visited Cashcore's areas. We had conducted focus group discussions with their clients, with the community members, and with their staff. We had visited some of the hospitals and some of the healthcare facilities in their areas, and made a complete landscape study on health in the areas in which Cashcore is working. And then we tested the current model to Cashcore, where the model entails where we work in partnership with Cashcore. We identify their clients from every village, and these clients are basically they are Tamil straight women with basic education and who can read and write the local language. They are the clients of Cashcore and mostly housewives, and who are committed to creating change in their community and have good communication. We identify them, and we put them through a process of 1 year training and internship. What they do is they undergo 6 months training with us, where they come to us every month for 4 days of training, and we build the whole health education model to them as building blocks. Start training them basics of health, nutrition, sanitation, prevention of illness, and on that we start building blocks of knowledge. And by 6 months, we would have trained them on the entire life cycle of health, including maternal health, child health, men's health, geriatric health, first aid, sanitation, all of that. The whole cycle, we would have trained them. And this training is mainly a participatory, which follows adult learning principles. And so this way, the CHFs who are clients of Cashcore undergo training from us for 6 months. And each month, once they undergo the training, they go back to their villages and do small projects, conduct some health education sessions, small projects as in educating the children in the school on hand wash and sanitation, or building soap pits in their villages, or kitchen gardens. So these kind of projects they take up through the 6 months. And at the end of 6 months training, They get another 6 months to intern with us. During internship, what each community health facilitator does is, every month of internship, she conducts 10 health education sessions in her village. Basically, she either goes into MFI groups or any of the existing groups of 20 to 25 people, and she conducts a health education session on topics that we have given her. We have already trained her on, and we have told her to conduct sessions. She conducts sessions on these topics to the community, and these are predominantly these sessions are conducted to the microfinance groups. When the microfinance groups have meetings, these sessions are conducted in those microfinance groups, and these followed up with again interventions like construction of toilets, sale of sanitary napkins, or kitchen gardens, soap pits, all of this. And we also these women help the community to form groups to save towards health. They help people to save towards health, and these are called health saving groups. And they also network hospitals where the community could access quality hair care at a discounted. So this is done as a part of the community health facilitator intervention in the village level. And another very critical element of the CHF work is she undergoes a basic first aid training by the Red Cross St. John's Ambulance Program, and she's certified by Red Cross Society as a basic first aid training. They got the basic first aid training, and this has actually helped a lot at the community level, where several of our CHFs have helped people in conditions, critical conditions, and prevented loss of life and limbs several times. They have helped people who have poisoning. They have helped people who have had poisoning, or people who have had snake bites, who have had fractures, to immediately resuscitate them and to help them to go immediately and access the doctor and get the treatment immediately before there is further deterioration of the condition. So this is also done as a part of the community health facilitator program. So this is the basic program that we have been working on with Kashpur, and from 2010. We started in one district of Kashpur in Bihar, Buxar, and today we are across Bihar, UP, and we are also scaling to Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh. I think we have about 50 batches of women that we have trained across Kashpur areas. That is 2,500 of Kashpur's clients. To date, we have trained as community health facilitators. And another element of this is to ensure commitment to the program by the women when she comes for the program, to ensure that she's committed and she continues and values the program. We charge them a fee of 100 rupees for every month that she undergoes training. So basically, she comes for the training, takes care of her own travel, comes for the training, undergoes the training, pays 100 rupees fee, and then we take care of all the other logistics for the training. Hello? Any questions?
It was an echo.
Can I move?
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, can I continue? Yeah. Yeah. So this is paid every month by the CHF for the first 6 months, and the next 6 months when the CHF is undergoing internship, every month that she does an internship, we expect her to conduct 10 health education sessions in the community on a predetermined schedule. We give them the schedule of the sessions to be conducted. On the predetermined schedule, she conducts 10 sessions every month in the community, and for this the CHF gets paid 500 rupees honorarium every month. Yeah, and apart from doing the health education sessions, she also continues on the project she's doing in terms of toilets or kitchen gardens, and continues facilitating communities to construct toilets. She conducts camps in the village. Like recently, we've had the International Women's Day. So what happens is, for the occasion of International Women's Day, all the theatres get together in one area, and they conduct health camps, community mobilization camps, where they call doctors or they call people from the health department, and it's a large gathering from the community with a specific theme. Theme could be sanitation, theme could be women's health, theme could be pregnancy, adolescent, any of the themes, and the theme specific activities are done, as in it could be a health camp, it could be an awareness workshop, it could be a competition, poster competition, any of these, or a rally. So these activities are also done by the CHF. Apart from that, another initiative that we have got done through the CHF in cash poor areas is warm clothes initiative. The initial years when we started the program, one of the things that came up was that the extreme weather conditions in the states, Bihar and UP and those in the northern states, are very deteriorative to the health of the communities there. People fall sick, and also some of them die because of the extreme weathers in Bihar and UP, especially the vulnerable and the women and children. So to tackle that, what we started in 2011 in the cash poor areas is we started a warm cloth initiative. We did this in partnership with Goonj under their Clothes for Work program. So what we do every year is before the winter, we source warm clothes from Goonj, and these clothes are through the CHF, they are distributed to the communities. And the communities pay a nominal fee for these clothes, a nominal amount for these clothes. And apart from that, a community, when clothes are distributed in the community, the entire community has to come together and do a sanitation activity for the village, for the entire village. Like the community comes together and cleans the drains, or build soak pits in their village to reduce the stagnation of water, or they come together and do any of the sanitation, clean the drinking water source of the village. So these are the kind of sanitation activities that the community gets together and does in return of the warm clothes. Now, if they are getting this for the they are doing this for the warm clothes, the reason they pay the nominal fee is we use this nominal fee collected from the community to pay the CHF for the efforts she puts in gathering the community, distributing the clothes, and also in gathering the community, distributing the clothes, and also in doing the sanitation activities. But towards that, the CHF also gets paid something. Now, apart from this, the one very nice element of partnership with cash for. Yeah.
Gayatri, excuse me. I think you have 2 minutes time.
Sure. I'll move on. One important element of partnership with Cash Poor was the commitment, equal commitment from Cash Poor, where they started an extended internship program, which is beyond the 1 year. They continue with the CHS, and they use the CHS to educate their clients exclusively for 1 year, and the CHS are paid an income through Cash Poor, paid a fee through Cash Poor. Now I will move on to the. Can we move on? So I think I covered the journey of the CHF already. So I'm moving on to the impact of the program. Impact evaluation of the program. Slide 13, please. Yeah. So now that I have talked about the whole program at an outline, we have, since it has been 5 years since we've started the implementation of the program, 2015, we had done an external evaluation of the program, and it was an independent evaluation done by Professor Dr. J.P. Kulyal, who was the former principal of CMC Vellore, and this was done in the cash poor areas, where it was a comparative study, random evaluation with the comparative study, where CHF intervention villages where the CHFs have intervened were compared to CHF non-intervention villages, and the results that came was that in most of the impact has been much higher in intervention villages compared to non-intervention villages. For example, in the intervention villages, we've had high institutional delivery and the referral to the hospital was majority done by the CHF, and we've had high first-aid interventions by the CHF. Use of sanitary napkins was much higher in the intervention villages. And another very important thing that came up from the evaluation was that there was an increased respect for CHS, both from within the family and from the village post the training. And also there has been an increased earning for the CHS who were earlier housewives or had very marginal income.
A3, do you want me to
yeah,
advance to
and so this
Guys,
yeah, I would like you to go into the slide, slide 18.
Okay.
Sorry, not 18. Sorry, 16.
Okay.
Okay. So apart from the evaluation done by Dr. Jaiprakash Mulyal, we've also had an impact assessment done by Deloitte. This was again an independent impact assessment. It was done in 2016, and it was done in the areas where we've done the program with CashFor. That also very clearly showed that there has been an increased participation decision making for the CHS. This focuses on the CHS. There has been an increased autonomy for the CHS, and there is confidence has increased, and the engagement of the CHS in the village level discussions was also much higher post this program. Okay, and I would like you to go into the slide 19, please. So now, having done all of this, having built up this resource in the village level, the community health facilitator who's been able to create an impact, who's been able to bring about health behavior change, we have strategized moving to the next level. So if you see, as of now, we have equipped our CHFs and established them as go-to persons in the village level as health advisors. We would now like to elevate them as community health entrepreneurs and as basic care providers and enable them to have sustainable incomes. So I would just like a little bit talk about what this basic care provider is. So the last year we have had a partnership with Department of Emergency Medicine of Stanford University, and we have partnered with them basically to take the CHF program to the next level. Today, the CHFs are basically the primary contact points for health. They create awareness and they help the people in preventing illness. But the next level where we are seeing the CHFs and going to is they being the first point for any healthcare situation in the village, where they should be able to identify illnesses, diagnose the conditions based on the symptoms, and give immediate care and help them to make the appropriate referrals. And to do this, we have partnered with Stanford Emergency Medical Department, and they have already done a program where they train and develop lay health providers in the communities, especially in areas where access to healthcare is very limited. And they have done pilots in African countries and Haiti, and a similar program they have brought to us. And we have identified 50 women from Bihar and UP, and we have done a pilot. We have trained these 50 women. We have given them hands-on training, and we've also given them classroom sessions, and they were trained by master trainers of Healing Fields who were directly trained by Stanford. And these women have completed their training, and today these women, they are able to take the history and take the vitals of the patients who come to them and go through the symptoms and understand, identify what the illness is, and give the primary care where needed, like whether it is stressing or dressing or some basic treatment they are able to give, and then make the appropriate referrals. So this is the pilot that we have just started, and we would like to scale this to the other areas with the support of Stanford.
Gayatri, I think.
Yeah, you would like me to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just this last point I would like to add and stop it with your permission.
Please. Yeah, 30 seconds.
Yeah. So this is this is, I'm sorry, when I start talking about our work, I get carried away.
We understand.
This is one element of the second curve. The other element is a livelihood program where we are working in partnership with some organizations where we are trying to create. We have done a livelihood market study. We have identified what are the kind of health-related products that these CHFs, the community health resources, could sell and make an income for themselves. And now we are going to launch that program shortly, where the CHFs would be able to market health products within their villages and make an income for themselves and sustain the work that they are doing.
Yeah, the rest we can cover under question answer session. Thank you so much.
So that basically the whole idea of the second curve is that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Huda?
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
Yeah,
please.
Thank you.
So first, thank you, Gayatri. Really, for such a nice detailing of Cash for Healing Field CHF program. You have really you have made my work quite easier. You are talking about the feasibility. Yes, of course, I'll be focusing upon the viability. So, good afternoon, friends. I'll be taking you through next 7 slides. I'll be talking mainly on the cash flow rule on the CHF, and then the cost involved in that, and how the project went forward. But first of all, let me talk about, yes, being a MFI person, I have to focus upon this program. In fact, is a business sense. We being a finance people, we have to see that everything has to be viable. So before going for the business detail, let me also introduce you about the cash flow itself. The Section 25 company again, like Healing Field, we have membership of around 12 lakh clients in 64 very backward districts of Bihar, UP, MP, Jharkhand, and Chhattisgarh. We are operating. But since something more that what we are working with, these are the real poor, not I'm talking about the poor for the this poverty line. Our clients are very poor to the absolute poor, but you can say. So still, as everybody knows that every 16th Indian is normally on an average is ill, and rightly Gayatri says that 60 to 70% of those ailments can be avoided by creating awareness, and that's what this program does, and really has done it. As Gayatri has covered many of the impact points. Well, regarding that, again, these poor people, they spend 20% of their income mainly on health, and of that also, so something very serious, above 50 years is they spend only 10%, 5% amount of that, and below 15, this comes around 5. So 85% of the total health expenses goes to the working couple, and that directly indicates that because of these ailments, there is wage losses, and definitely they are not able to work in the field. They are not in a position to utilize the loans, and in fact, there is a lesser demand for the loans, bigger loans. So that's a real thing, and we MFI people talks about. If there is no demand at all because of the ailments. So through these experiences, if you are able to keep them healthy and having more working hours, and then certainly there will be a good demand for credit too. They will be utilizing it, earning more income, and the faster they will be coming out of the poverty. So this MFI has to see that the health of the clients is the base for a good MFI business. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes. But in our case, Cash for Healing Field Foundation combination with our CHF program, no doubt, it's a really privilege to partner with the Healing Field Foundation. You heard Gayatri so well, and even at the top level, sometimes Cash for Field, we are the MFI part of Healing Field Foundation. I mean, a health agency, and so is a nice congregation of this activity at the CHF level. A CHF who herself is a client, she takes loan from us, utilize that, repay it back timely, and she creates an example in front of other fellow members, and that's a good MFI's business foundation is created. While in this whole process, what Cashflow does, we do the selection of these good clients who are 8th pass and relatively good in communication, more friendly or more developed leadership among the members, and then of course we do share costs, and then we take forward this program along with Healing Field Foundation. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, you have gone back. Please, next slide. Yeah. So, what is the cost on this program? Now, this is a point. Around 37,000 rupees is the total cost on the total training and internship part of this CHF program. Of course, another thereafter having fully trained to deliver modules, around 15 modules to 10 to 12 centers, and we pay around 100 rupees per module, and that comes around 15,000 to 18,000 a year. And client coverage in total, 120 clients are normally covered through their internship program, while another 250 after completion of their internship and training. So total beneficiary comes around 370 families, and these 370 families, if you take a cost of 55,000 total, comes around less than 150, I mean total 148. Regarding project outcomes, Gayatri has details in a nice way, a good slide, and an independent study that has been done by Dr. Muyali. But still, there's a number we have mentioned here. No doubt there is at least reduction, if not reduction, at least sustenance of health expenses wherever these CHS are working. So far, of the 12 lakh clients, outreach through the CHF program has been around 50% of our clients. Now, it's a time to take it forward. Besides health, this CHS has contributed many things more. My microfinance friends, MFI people will agree with me. The last 3-4 months, right from November to March, and in the event of demonetization, these CHFs played a very key role with us. Wherever they are, we did not find any default. So finally, we agree that the CHFs creating awareness not only for health, besides health, as Gayatri was talking about, social marketing also many products, like mainly on the sanitary napkin. And since then, after awareness, we have gone to the next level of having mini health clinic sessions at fortnightly interval at our branches. And these CHFs play a key role in getting the patient to that place and getting them the health services. Health surveys and financial literacy is another thing they are contributing. So no doubt, as per Cashflow experience, this is really wonderful, and Cashflow feels that this, of course, we need to go higher level. Gayatri was talking about some more things, and that too, awareness has no limit. If second round of awareness, if it continues, and it's going to give a not only good help to the client, but to the big business opportunity for MFIs. Thank you, Dr. Rao.
Thank you, Mr. Huda. So we have a few Hello. We have a few questions now. Let me pose the first question to Gayatri and Mukti. Saumitra Datta of Freedom from Hungary is asking how CHF costs could be covered going forward. Going forward, I'm assuming that beyond the CHF program itself, the initial community health facilitator program is more like an investment. So as of now, when we started with Cash for until now, Healing Fields is to provide the training. And the kind of training that is being provided, we have to look at it as investment and a lot of investment for the microfinance. And going forward, you have heard Gayatri talk about the CHF paying 100 rupees for the first 6 months of training. Now we have something called the BCP program, the Basic Care Provider Program, where the trained women are paid 4,000 rupees for getting additional training and for the first aid kit. So therefore, that would be the model where it will have to be part grant funded, part from the possibly the CSR funds of the MFIs as well as other CSR activities, or for that matter, even with the government itself. If you're expecting it to be sustainable on its own, to my understanding, sustainable is if you're expecting the MFI member, the individual CHF to bear the cost, I think that would be over-ambitious as of now. About the model, the revenue model, Dr. Senthil is asking, who pays this 500 rupees per month during the internship? And there is some confusion in the sense that you are paying 500 rupees to them and they are also paying 100 rupees per month. I think that needs a little clarity.
The first 6 months, for the first 6 months, the CHF program is a 1-year program. The first 6 months, the CHF community health facilitators who are cash for members, they pay 100 rupees. This is more for a value creation. And the next 6 months, which we call it as internship, with very specific activities that they will be carrying it out in the community, they get paid 50 rupees per session. So they are expected to do 10 sessions. So on an average, they get paid about 500 rupees per month. This is also built into the grant model. If I understand correctly, when you talk about a revenue model, you are talking about a profit model, you will be talking about a return on investment model, and you will, I'm assuming, talking about the cost of financing. As Gayatri talked about upfront, Healing Fields Foundation is a not-for-profit organization. So, and also the other aspect is this is training, like for primary care, primary education provided at a policy level will have to be grant funded. So if you're talking about a revenue model, no, there is no revenue model. When does the revenue model come in place? That too for the women, for the BCP, not for us as an organization, but because we are not working towards that. For the women, it will be when they become a basic care provider, where they get additional skill sets to be able to provide possibly treatment and care at the community level, as well as when they start selling products and services. For example, the sanitary napkins that they sell, as well as what Mr. Huda very beautifully talked about, the social marketing of other products that the MFI has. In Cash for, they have experimented using the CHS to provide financial literacy training, as well as to be the brand ambassadors at the community level of being able to provide additional training for the health-related loans that is available with Cash for, and for surveys that they use them. So a whole lot of other products that they use. Cash for has also initially done a cost-benefit analysis of using the CHS to provide the health education vis-a-vis staff, and what they found, what Cashport found was using a CHF, a community health facilitator, is far, far cheaper, is cost-wise when you talk about financial-wise, as well as building a brand and leaving a person behind in the village who is trained, para-trained, to be able to provide not just information, but also provide first aid and also create access to products and services that was not available earlier. Hello.
So after the first 6 months of training, did you have to filter some of them for the second 6 months of, then you have to pay them? No.
No, we didn't have to filter because our training in the first 6 months is pretty intensive. We have a 4-day of training. In many cases, the CHS have never met each other. They are from a batch consisting of 50 to 60 women and who have been picked up from 50 to 60 villages, even though they have been Cashport's client for a couple of years before, but because they belong to different villages, they have never even met each other. So all of them come together at one place at a central location, and they also are trained. It's an adult learning principle, a lot of interactive training, plus there's a lot of supervision by our field coordinators and training coordinators and hand-holding. In case we see that there is a particular person who's lagging behind, then additional training is provided to that particular person. We, as much as possible, try and make sure that the CHS whom we recruit in the first month stay on. There is a inherent dropout, a rate of about 15%, which we take into consideration when we are recruiting the CHS, selecting the CHS, because this is this kind of attrition, even in the MFIs among the staff also happens. And so we do see a 15 to 20% attrition. And that is attrition because of attrition, either because there are some health issues in the family, or they have migrated, or there's a death in the family, or possibly the husband and in-law cannot support them. These were the, or they may have left the MFI. They may have, they are not anymore a member of Cashport. So these are the 5 reasons that we see that there is a dropout. We do not ask anybody to leave.
Yeah, there are some more questions of Mukti. One is from MCRIL. Community health entrepreneurship. He would like to hear a little more about what sort of enterprises are being taken up. You have briefly touched upon that. I would like to know whether you would like to add more regarding what sort of enterprises are being taken up. Again, most of these questions are related to sustainability.
Sure.
Beyond the
yeah, sure. The next curve, as Gayatri said, is to establish and to be making these women independent and be kind of entrepreneurs. Microfinance is all about entrepreneurship. I mean, that is what I believe microfinance is all about. And the loans that the women take is for micro enterprises that they start off at home. So piggybacking on that, what we thought was, we started off with sanitary napkins, and we saw that the uptake has been very good. We have not been able to produce enough for the women to be able to sell it. And we also have experimented. The model that Healing Fields always does is, we do a pilot, we learn from that, and we start scaling up. So now we believe that our women are capable. So we are putting in an entrepreneurship training. So in the 6 months of internship that we have, we are going to be integrating the entrepreneurship training, because that involves a whole lot of different areas that we do not cover. Like, for example, project planning. It is more like inventory control, or in terms of marketing and sales and stores, all of this, as well as income versus profit versus loss statement. How do you do accounting and all of this? And so we have identified different products and services that these women can potentially sell, a basket of products and services. One of that is the BCP program, the Basic Care Provider, where these women learn how to do the vitals that Gayatri talked about: blood pressure, glucometers, pulse oximeters, suturing, splinting, wound care, referrals into the hospitals, using a mobile app to be able to figure out the decision support and be able to, on the mobile, order for the medications that they would require. Of course, all of it is backed and supported by a qualified doctor, because legally in India, any prescription has to be with the qualified doctor. So that is one of the services that the women will be providing for a fee. The second one is we plan to scale up sanitary napkins. Right now we have not decided whether it has to be production or outsource it to somebody else, and we start selling the scaling up the sanitary napkin, because we've seen we are just not able to keep up with the demand in the market. So that is the second product that will be sold. The third product, we already are in the last stages of tying up with one of the FMCG's companies, where we would be supplying certain health-related products, like hygiene products. When I say hygiene products, it could be soaps, it could be toothpaste and toothbrush. Like, as you know, oral care is another huge issue among the poor. So oral care, we are also talking to Vision Spring in terms of having a partnership in terms of using their, spreading their glasses.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole lot of products and services. Possibly insurance services is something that we will look at, which can be sold out. So ultimately, what we will be providing the woman is anything between 3,000 to 5,000, again, depending on the entrepreneurial skill of a particular woman. Long-term vision. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
for achieving that kind of sustainability of 3,000 to 5,000 rupees per month for each of the CHS, roughly, on average, how long do you think it takes? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? Well, is there any?
Yeah, as of now, because of our experience of having been able to scale up rapidly with Cashport. Cashport has been one of our fantastic partners who have been supportive. And one of the things that I would like to tell to this group is, unless there is a commitment from top down, from the board, from the CEO downwards, this program will not be effective. And that is something that we have seen. We have worked with a whole lot of other microfinance. We have worked with Cashport, and what we have seen is Cashport is extremely committed, top to bottom. Each one of them know the program, each one of them know their roles and responsibilities, and be able to support the program. So that goes a long way in doing a program. And I mean, as we see it, we should be able to hit the mark of 3,000 to 5,000 in 2 years. With just the first year of the program today, in having given the different avenues for our women, what we have seen is there are a whole lot of women who are innately entrepreneurial, and they have been getting an income of even 10,000 rupees, because what they have done is, one of the major things as a byproduct that we have seen is the women get confidence of being able to present in front of big groups of people, being able to go and speak to the district magistrate or the district medical officer or the PSC or the Swachh Bharat project director, whoever, and that gives them a huge confidence. Therefore, they get a lot more entrepreneurial avenues. For example, many places, the panchayats and the project directors of Swachh Bharat missions have used our women to construct toilets, and they have earned income between 3,000 to 5,000 without too much of intervention from us after they have finished the program. There are a lot of women, just a kitchen garden that we taught them, they have made it their backyard garden in spite of being small holding farmers. They have gone ahead and sold the vegetables, and they have earned an income. We have some of them who have been actively involved in surveys, not just with us, with Cashport, with the government agencies, and they have earned about 5,000 to 10,000. But on an average, if we want 60% of the CHS trade to earn an income of 3,000 to 5,000, I would say anything between 2 to 3 years, including the CHF training. That is what we are looking at.
Very encouraging. Very encouraging. I have a question to Mr. Huda. We are all now convinced about, after all, Cash4 has run with this program for the last 6-7 years, and we understand your commitment. And one of the questions asked to you is, will the cost, is it being covered as part of Cash4 CSR funds, or do you have any plan of doing that in the future?
Dr. Rao, in fact, the cost is one, the cost is very minimum. Two, they are doing so many things. They are so benefited, as Mukti ji says. They are our ambassador in the field. Cash4 head office is in Banaras, they were in Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh remote. They represent Cash4. They being there, as I told you, they have done the miracles right from November this to March in the problem of this demonetization. These CHF people came forward and they kept this so many rumors away, and that was the Cash4 only who was least affected by this demonetization. So CHF is always useful, and many other things they do for Cash4, like some surveys, like even many other health products, as Madam was saying regarding health and sanitation projects, and we give money to them for that also. That way Cash4 is getting business, and indirectly and directly they are contributing to health and sanitation environment, where diseases also will be not coming forward, it is assumed.
Yeah. So there is a possibility that increasingly in the future Cash4 might compensate their services that are being derived by you.
Yes, we are doing. In fact, this is going to be a biggest tool for microfinance as well.
But one question, Huda sir. One of the questions is that the cost you projected as 39,000 rupees per CHF for 1 year of training. I understand it's 1 year of training. That is one of the question is that it is very, very high cost, and is there any way we can meet that cost even without funding support or grant support, or should it always have to be the first 1 year of expenditure on the CHF has to come from the grant, and then later on subsequently they become sustainable, or the MFI could increasingly come forward to compensate. So the initial cost is very, very high. That is bothering some of the participants, and they are asking questions on that.
Any comments? This 39,000, 36, 30. Of course, this
Can I please come in here?
Yeah.
Can I please come in here?
Yeah.
Quickly. Yeah, I have some more questions, Mukti.
One of the things which I would want to bring into notice is the first pilot, that the first three batches of 180 the first two batches of about 100 CHF training was 100% supported by Cash4. So I'll let Mr. Huda talk about the rest.
Anyway, what I want to say, Dr. Rao, we have seen some of these CHFs before training and after 1 year training. This costs nothing really. They are so changed, they are so technical they become after this training and intensive. And after that they are so useful for Cash4 assets, for Cash4 clients to remain healthy and avoiding the incidence of disease. So this cost is really nothing. Really nothing.
Good. Once you are convinced that it is nothing, then you will definitely have some way of raising that cost.
But that question. That is also the great work of Healing Field Foundation.
Sir, can I? Hudaji, so you consider this cost as an investment you're making on your clients, is it?
Yes.
Menu is asking the question, please.
Huda sir, me Gayatri.
Okay. Yes, madam. Please go ahead.
So are you looking at this as an investment on your clients?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There is one question, I think either Cash4 or Healing Fields, any one of you could answer. In the process of their work, the CHFs, how are they engaging? Hello? how are they engaging with the range of other health activists in the villages like ANMs and ASHAs? I know, is there any interaction between the CHS? Are they working to supplement the work of ASHAs, or are they two independent channels?
Yeah, it's a great question, and this is a question that we keep getting answered in every forum when there's an ASHA worker YCHF. One of the things that we need to understand is ASHA worker focuses on maternal and child health and also focuses on adolescent health, whereas the CHF focuses on a whole range of other things apart from the maternal child health and also adolescent health. And we have very, very consciously stayed away from duplicating what other health activists do in the community. For example, ASHA worker.
Is there any scope for synergy between them?
Oh, yes, there's a lot of synergy. Now, if you go into the fields into the villages where we have our CHF, they work very closely with the ASHA worker and with the ANM. Many times the ASHA worker or the ANM is not in the village. She's outside of the village. And it is our CHF that they reach out to identify pregnant women, to be able to identify and take them for checkups. When a woman is pregnant and she gets into labor, many times it is our CHF who will call the ANM and the ASHA worker and takes them to the hospital. So there is a lot of synergy, a lot of bonding that happens between the ASHA workers, the health activists in the community, and our CHF. One of the things that from day one of our program, we always tell our CHF, we are not here to do a parallel program. We are not here to be in competition with what is happening from the government. We are here to facilitate and strengthen the existing systems of the government. So if you have a sanitary napkin that is sold to an adolescent girl by the ASHA worker, please educate the community on that so that you can, the community, the adolescent girl can get the sanitary napkin from the ASHA worker. There is iron tablets that is given by the ASHA worker to the adolescent girls. Many a times, neither does the ASHA worker knows about it, what it does, nor the adolescent girl. So what the job of the CHF is to educate the adolescent girls why they should be taking the iron tablet and also refer them to ASHA worker to be able to access that. Same thing happens with the PSC. When what are your entitlements from the government? So our CHS only give the knowledge, facilitate the process, and create a demand on the government systems, whether it is at a village level, or it is at panchayat level, or at the district level. So till date, we have not come across anywhere where there is a conflict between what the CHF does and what the activists do. The government health activists do. In fact, they use our CHF, and many times they've come and thanked us for doing this training. And interestingly, today what we see is many of the ASHA workers have applied to be part of the CHF training. Within Cash for Clients, they have a whole lot of ASHA workers who have done our CHF training in spite of completing the ASHA worker training.
Okay. There's one question about sanitation and the construction of the toilets. How do you coordinate with the government departments on the toilet construction and release of subsidies? Is there any way your CHFs are coordinating with the local government functionaries?
In fact, this is a bridge loan, Dr. Rao.
Yeah.
And our CHF does the main role of persuading the clients to go for such loans, telling them regarding subsidy as well as a loan from us. So government gives subsidy after a long time. Till then, there is a loan facility from microfinance, MFI.
Okay.
And yes.
Yeah, please go ahead.
In fact, through these CSFs, we have been able to finance, and that's a business, no doubt. a good portfolio is being created and again without default. And the segment we are working with, the poor and very poor, you just can think that a hut and a Kachcha house, then even they people go for this sanitation toilet, construction toilet. That's a great work done by the CHFs only. Otherwise, how one can go for? So they go for and they are being benefited.
Good. See, one last question. I think this is from my side, and some of our MFI friends may be interested to know. Healing Fields Foundation is now working in UP and Bihar. So, which other parts of India, if any MFI is interested and comes forward to adopt your model, in which other parts of the country Healing Fields Foundation has the capacity to partner with MFIs and implement these schemes?
Sir, our program is so modular that we can work in any part of India because the entire processes, all of it has been built, and in any part of we have already worked in Assam, we have worked in Chhattisgarh, we have worked in Jharkhand, we have worked in Karnataka, and we have worked in Tamil Nadu also. But the program is developed in such a way that we can partner with any MFI or any organization in any state in India, and with certain preparation time in terms of getting the staff there and integrating the local specific things, we can start the program in any location.
Okay. Thank you very much. I mean, both of you have spoken so passionately about, all these days, we know that many MFIs are promoting community health volunteers, but always there has been an element of doubt about their sustainability and how they will be, and dropouts, and is it ever possible for them to become sustainable and some income of 2,000, 3,000 per month. I mean, that element of doubt many of us have had, and your presentation has been very, very convincing that it is a feasible and viable model for many of the MFIs and SHG promoting organizations to take up. Thank you very much, Mr. Huda and Mukti and Gayatri, and also thanks for all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and also one final technical note. Thank you to
Thank you.
who has joined us. The webinar has been recorded, so we will send around an email after the event is over with a link to where you can download the audio, the webinar, the video, in case you'd like to share it with your colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anurag?
Hello.
I'm speaking to Anurag.
Anurag.
Okay. Huda sir.
Yes, Dr. Srivastava.
Because there was a big group of PHFI from Lucknow office, and I had a glimpse of their this thing. And thank you so much, yaar. Acha tha. It was good. And